What's up, man? Thank y'all for tuning in. As promised, I said that I was gonna come and do a live. For some reason, man, my account is still tripping, so I'm unable to use my camera because I'm still frozen. It's been froze like that since last night. Sometimes, man, you know things just don't want you to be great, but you gotta push past that. You know what I'm saying? So I remember supposed to doing this actual story about Nick Saban basically not wanting kids and quitting behind NIL deals, right? His whole statement was he felt like it's going to diminish the football. Now, what I have to say about it is it's easy to say when you already getting paid. Now, I don't think there were too many situations that Nick Saban has went through to where he didn't get paid. So when you look at his journey and you look at the fact that the athletes, was never getting paid, I can't see how he take a stance and want to regulate something. Because to me, when you regulate something, it basically puts you in a position to where you're limited to how much money you can get, what's your cap, what's your salary, how many people can give you deals, how many people can talk to you, how many people can approach you. Like, nah, we don't want stipulations. And here's the thing: how is it that the first year that Nick Saban decides, when after the NIL deal is awarded, he decides to quit after the process? Now, this man had no problem when all these players were not getting nothing. They were poor. A lot of them graduated. Not that many people were going to the NFL. He didn't have a problem then. Once the kids started getting paid, he felt like it was going to create a disadvantage for the people that want to compete on a college level. Now, the irony in what he's saying is basically he is one of the ones that end up benefiting the most from being at a high power school to where they're most likely getting the best talent. So he felt like one school will rule everybody. That's not the case because the school only can use about 60 players. They only need about 60 players. So how would that end up affecting anybody? It wouldn't. It wouldn't change the dynamic of competition. It wouldn't change any of that. And so basically what I'm thinking is that this man was just using it, was just making the excuse as to why he no longer wanted to coach. Because I think his biggest problem is that players were getting paid. And then he used the people that were in the NFL saying that they were less developed. How is players getting paid is minimizing the way that you develop kids? If somebody is non-coachable, why don't you just fire them, get rid of them? So therefore, you could create a rapport amongst people to say, you know what, I didn't want to deal with him because his work ethic was poor. This was poor. Because to be honest, you guys can check these type of players. You got the championship experience. You're like Phil Jackson. Nobody is going to come and disrespect you unless you're disrespecting them. And as a coach, respect is the highest priority amongst all people. So I wouldn't see how somebody like Nick Saban can be upset that people are getting paid. Then he talk about the graduation rate. What does the graduation has to do with them having the ability to make money? Now, everybody is not going to make money when it comes to college. So that's why I'm doing a lot of stuff that I'm doing so these babies can figure out a way to make some money because everybody is not going to the NFL. Everybody not going to the NBA. Everybody is not going pro. So as a school that's making millions and millions upon millions, then and y'all can pay these players maybe about probably like I want to say at least 100,000, 400,000 for the season. And I mean 400,000 for the 4 years that they end up going to college. Then why not? Why not? Because as you look at it, it looks like this man is just don't want the players to get money at all. Somehow, he equates them getting paid to them being less developed, them not wanting to work. Now, I'm gonna say this. It starts, that's why I say it starts from um youth football. The development is very important. So what about high school? What was the coaches doing there? Why didn't they develop then? Because when you get to the college level, you should already have the fundamentals. You should already have the fundamentals, be fundamentally sound, all that. You know what I'm saying? But to have somebody like Nick Saban try to discourage and want to put instant legislation upon the NIL deals and the portals, like, man, to me, I feel like that's disingenuous. You can't do that. As somebody that's getting paid millions upon millions, like, he's the last person to talk because he's not going to give away the earnings that he's making. This man is making so much money. I guarantee ain't nobody going to say, you know what, you're making too much money. And he's going to say, oh, well, I'm making too much money. You know what? Y'all should put legislation on on the salary cap that a coach should make. He's not advocating for that. So why would you do that with kids? Feeling like you ain't got their undivided attention. To me, that's a cop out. But man, I got some of the clip, man, that I want to play when it comes to Nick Saban, because I think what he was saying was very disingenuous, man, and fair use, fair use. This video is used for commentary purposes, for educational purposes. So I'm gonna get ready to play it real quick, man. All right, before I continue, why would it destroy student athletes? Why would somebody getting money, making money, how would that destroy student athletes? Wouldn't that encourage student athletes to want to make money? And then on the fact that these student athletes, a lot of times they graduate extra broke. Now, I believe that there should be a way that they go about paying these athletes, but it shouldn't be a problem with how much money that they can get on the side when it comes to sponsorship. Nobody should be caring about that type of situation. So when they saying that, I disagree with them. I feel like it's disingenuous because if you ask me, they really just don't want college athletes to make money. That's what it boils down to, if you ask me. Because why are we talking about legislation and it's just something that just started being implemented? And you talking about this as if you experienced this for about 5 years and you just seen a decline. You don't even know. A lot of these people don't even know. He just don't like the fact that these athletes are getting paid, but he never stopped them from writing him a check. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that this man did great things, but at the end of the day, you know, he don't wish the same for other people. And don't you think making sure that they get paid about 100,000, at least for the big schools, 150,000 per year or semester? I mean, not semester, but per season. Don't you think that would be an incentive to keep them there? And the fact that you guys are making billions upon billions of dollars, don't you think that that's an incentive for them to stay in college? I do. I definitely think that would keep them in college. But the bigger problem is they don't want you to play. They don't want you to play and make money doing it. So let me continue. Now let me ask the question: do you think just because these people are making money that they would decide just to throw everything away and they got a bunch of money waiting for them outside of this? Do you think that, in fact, do you think that people would not take school as serious if they got $150,000 waiting on them after every season? Or do you think they're going to be more focused, pay attention? And he stated that he wanted to make sure that they build character and build something, right? And he talked about their brand. What better way to build by than to have the financial um means to do everything that it is that he wants to do? What is it to make a person say, you know what, I got money, so I don't want to have any type of character? Nobody is going to college just to just say, oh, I went to college and not finish. Now, if you got an opportunity to go to the NFL, then by all means, you're going to go to the NFL. But everybody is not doing that. Everybody's not trying to go to the NFL. Some people are doing it just to get a college education. Now, when that's the case, then we can say, okay, it's a thing. It's one of those incentives for graduating. And what better way than to start your own business or do something that you love than to have something waiting for you? It's just like almost like Iverson had all that money, but then when it came down to it, Iverson basically was saved by the fact that Adidas had money put aside until he turned a certain age. Because otherwise, we would be talking about Iverson is broke because the way that he spend his money. So the fact that the colleges would say, you know what, in order for you to get your money, you got to obtain a certain type of GPA. That's number one. Number two, you got to graduate college. Or number three, or you just don't get it. Now, if you create that type of stipulation, they're going to have an incentive to do work. They're going to want to have that money. Now, the problem that I think that is going on is that you just got people like Nick Saban that don't want to give you any type of money because he sees no value in you, making money, just like him. He feel like you just gonna turn on him and not want to do anything that he says. And last time I checked, they started the NIL deal, when he was coaching the last year, maybe he was coaching. I think his school, his kids did very well. I still think that they, were a really good team. I still think that people want to go to Alabama. I still think that they understand that it's value to play for him, but he don't see the value in them making money while playing for him. So that's the the bigger issue when it comes to this situation.
And how does this even impact other sports relative to Title IX, relative to non-revenue sports? And how do we continue to create some kind of a model moving forward where we do improve the quality of life of the student athlete, but create some kind of a balance in terms of competitive balance, which all venues have some guidelines and rules that create some kind of competitive balance, which right now we don't have in college athletics. It's whoever wants to pay the most money, raise the most money, buy the most players is going to have the best opportunity to win. I don't think that's the spirit of college athletics. I don't think it's ever been the spirit of what we want college athletics to be. So,
Now, doesn't it sound like to y'all that basically what he's saying is he don't want to compete on a higher level? He don't want people to be able to compete on the highest level just like he's doing. Now, Alabama has a name. So what he's saying is what's happening for Alabama that can't happen and is not happening for other teams, smaller teams, like people that could go to the HBCUs. They're not getting the top players. The people that's going to other colleges that's not as wealthy, right? Or not as good. It's the same thing because the fact that these people, Nick Saban and them, they are winning national championships and they're always playing on a national level. You always got people that comes there. So what is different from what he's doing as opposed to people that's making money and have the ability to pay for players that are better to come to their college to give them a better opportunity? Because sometimes a lot of people go to Alabama because they want to go to they want a higher chance of making it to the NFL. But if people can get NFL money to play for other teams, all it does is balance the state of play out. Because like I told you, only about 65 players can literally play at a time. So it's more than 65 players that are very good in this world. So every team will actually be stacked. This man don't want nobody to compete. That's why he quit. Because I don't think that he believed that he would have been able to compete on a high level just like everybody else. That's why that man don't want the NIL deals. Because if every college has the ability to be on an even playing field, then they will be able to get the best players, just like he was. I don't see Nick Saban complaining about all of the top players that he had, throughout the country. And then this man was mad that Deion Sanders had a bunch of players. But when it's him, it's okay. But when it's everybody else, then it's a problem. So I don't get that, man. I don't get it. But this man definitely just didn't want nobody to compete with him. So let's continue.
that's my major concern, the combination of pay for play, free agency, and how that impacts development. And I can attest that I've had two NFL coaches tell me, and this is a football deal because they're concerned about the football part, that the players come to them less developed, with more entitlements and less resiliency to overcome adversity. And these are concerns that they have even in their football development. Well, if that's true in their football development, is that true in other parts of their development, whether it's academics or personal development? And each time you transfer, you minimize your chances of graduating by probably about 20%. Now we have guys transferring two or three times. So some of the goals and objectives of what we've worked so hard for the last 20 years to improve graduation rate, to improve health care for players, to have mental health care for players, all the
Now again, if they had the ability to make money, each player, a hundred thousand, and if you got 60 players, that's damn near what? 6 million upon billions that they make per season. Now that's 6 million. Now, if these players are able to make money outside of the fact that they graduate, they get the money outside of football, right? You don't think that they will put education as a priority? As I said, now I agree with him when he said that people will continue to transfer and stuff like that. Now, I agree with that. I think stipulations should be put on the athletes. If you if you decide to go through the portal, you only get one opportunity to make a change for school. Outside of that, if you make a choice on a school after going through the portal and you don't like that choice, that decision, then you got to live with that decision. Now, I agree some stipulations should be put on that aspect, but this man also have a problem with them making money in general. So, let's continue.
The things that we work so hard to improve on, we're going to start seeing slide in the wrong direction because we've created an environment that really does not promote personal development or that is going to create success for their future.
One question I have to ask.
Now let me ask you this question. Let me ask y'all this question. Now, do you think people will have an issue, literally? You think people will have an issue going to school if they're getting incentive for it? Do you think people will be less titled if the coaches wouldn't deal with it? Because I'm gonna tell you this. If coaches had an opportunity, what happened? I don't know what just happened, but I know that I'm gonna go ahead and end this live, man. Like I said, this thing is tripping, and it's showing that. It's tripping, man. It's tripping, man. Let me see.